Anxiety is not a fault. It's a mechanism. And people should get up to date with mental health issues and know about coping mechanism and the way that we all deal differently with stress. And I really want to stress that for us women who feel anxiety, who have been told they are anxious women, that it's like, yeah, I am. Responding to stress with anxiety is nothing more or less of a strategy than responding by suppressing or repressing your emotions. Hello, beautiful. Today I have an important message for those of us women who have been accused of or feel guilty for or shamed for being anxious, demonstrating anxiety. And as HSPs, as highly sensitive people, because of all our sensitivities and our heightened perceptivity and reactivity, we are often accused or characterized as being anxious people, as being anxious women. What I want to say right off the bat is that anxiety is not a fault. It's not a disorder. It's not anything to be shamed for or anything that is wrong with us. It is simply a coping mechanism. It is a strategy to deal with stress, and it's our bodies and how our brain is wired to respond to stressful situations. It's actually one of many ways to deal with stress. And I find it interesting that if I'm thinking more in the masculine and feminine approach to stress, I would say in general that women express stress through feelings of anxiety and men repress stress. But the interesting thing is that there is no label associated with he is a repressing man or a suppressing man. The only label that has created problems for women is anxious woman. And for a long time now, women being labeled anxious women has been an issue. It's based on that women have been institutionalized, were called hysterical, and needed pretty extreme treatments to calm the woman down. And again, responding to stress with anxiety is nothing more or less of a strategy than responding by suppressing or repressing your emotions. Of course, neither of them, I could say, are the healthiest ways to deal with stress. We all have work to do to soothe ourselves, to accept things as they are, and to reduce the amount of stress. But our coping mechanisms are just that. But the stigma that is attached with the label of anxious women is really misguided and destructive and not a favor to women at all. A little while ago, actually a couple of years ago, I went to the doctor at an urgent care. I went because I had heart palpitations, and I was really concerned because they were getting pretty extreme with the pain and everything. And okay, a little message, please subscribe. You have no idea, unless you have a YouTube channel, of how important subscriptions are for YouTube, for AI, to actually share the videos so that more people get to see it. So subscriptions are key. If you want to support me in any way, subscribe, and next step, share my channel. Tell a friend about it, or share one video on your social media, or to a friend in an email or in a text. That would be super, super helpful. Thank you. And he asks me questions, and at some point he concludes, oh, so you're an anxious woman. And he proceeds to write this down in the chart. I was livid because I'm aware of the perception and the categorization of when women are considered hysterical, or the more modern way, an anxious woman. And the thing is, I was going through a super hard time. It was like no wonder that I was anxious. My husband had stage 4 cancer. We had just gave away and sold everything we owned. We were moving into a trailer. He was in between treatments and we were not getting along. And my life was like so stressful. But what he retained from that was writing Anxious Woman, and then proceeded to kind of coddle me and talk me like, it's okay, you know, your heart can do things like this. And he was so infuriating. Anyway, when I got home from that appointment, absolutely furious. I think I screamed in the car. I was so mad at being treated this way and having everything else that I said after he labeled me anxious woman as being just in the imagination of this woman who is just being a female. When I got home, I Googled the issue and I found dozens of articles that talked about how in the medical world, the label of anxious woman, how it has been so harmful to women and how so many things go undiagnosed because of this labeling and how it's been an issue for decades and, you know, a couple hundred years. And how even to the present day, the recent articles were saying, once you have that label in your chart, it is there pretty much for life. And it will taint any encounter you have with other doctors, unless they're really open-minded and say, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to consider this. But generally, it is just going to follow you your entire life. So, backing up a little bit, anxiety is not a fault. It's a mechanism. And people should get up to date with mental health issues and know about coping mechanism and the way that we all deal differently with stress. And I really want to stress that for us women who feel anxiety, who have been told they are anxious women, that it's like, yeah, I am. I've been educating myself recently about this, and 2 inspirations that I found that made me understand that anxiety is not something for me to feel guilty about or feel like I'm wrong or that I need fixing. Of course, we can improve, right, and do work to learn different ways of coping with it, but just as a mechanism. And that information that I got, the 2 sources I got that information from, was from health guru Kris Carr, who has a video and some blogs about her anxiety. And she is so inspirational because she talks about it just as the way she is, the way her brain, her body is wired to react and to deal with stress in her life. The other one is the actress Kristen Bell, who, if you Google Kristen Bell anxiety, I guess, you will find a wonderful video too, where she just talks about it and how with her husband, there's just an understanding that this is her mechanism and that it's just part of the personality and something to have to deal with because it's part of the makeup. It's not something that is chosen. It's just something that is wired inside us. So to conclude this, anxious women, we're okay. There's nothing wrong with us. It's a mechanism. Look at it on par with suppressing your emotions when stress comes. When somebody labels you anxious woman, think of looking at the other person handle stress and say, yes, you are a repressive person, a suppressive person. And even though there are no labels that are equal on both sides, that is all there is. And it's time for us to be okay with who we are, how we react to stress, to stop accepting the shaming, to let it roll off our back when people do shame us or simply do not understand because they are not educated. So, one, let's educate ourselves. Listen to some of those videos or look for articles of people that will inspire you who talk about anxiety as just something that is part of who they are. And stop feeling guilty for responding with anxiety. Learn other coping mechanisms, meditation and walking in nature and breathing exercises and tapping. I do a lot of tapping with the tapping solution. All these things can kind of regulate our response, but our response is our response. So we're okay. We're good as we are. We have anxiety as a response to stress. Oh well, it's just our makeup. So let's work on loving ourselves just the way we are. There is so much that we blame ourselves for and feel like we're not enough or we're doing it wrong or what we are is not okay and that we need to fix ourselves. Let's start with this anxiety thing and just kind of love ourselves and say, yes, this is how I react. And I love me. That's it. I love you. And I will see you soon. You have a beautiful week. I love you.